Welcome to another of my reviews of Tai Lopez's 67 Steps. This is step number 54. Wow, we're up there. Chess-like assiduity and armchair meditation, the real use for deep thinking. And let me start out by saying that Tai has a good idea in this one, but I don't think he really presented it so well. I hope that I'll do a little bit of a better job, but who knows. As to the title, Assiduity. He's not using the dictionary term of it, he's using the Charlie Munger definition of it, which is you put your ass in a chair and do it. Assiduity. And this is all about how you need to think about things before you do them, and contemplate. As Alan Nation said, in business, you have to work on the business, not just in the business. And that's what this is about, working on the business, working on yourself, which is really what the whole 67 steps has been about. But in this particular case, we're going to look at some methods, or Tai looks at some methods. And, you can't be so deep in your day-to-day life, that so deep, neck deep in the things you have to do and the work you're working on and all the problems like this, that you can't step back and look at the big picture. Because if you don't look at the big picture periodically, really daily, who knows where you're going? It gets back to this story that we heard about before. A group of engineers crash in the forest, and they're engineers and they fashion cutting tools out of bits of the plane or whatever, and they start cutting towards this, the town, but one of them climbs up the tree and says, hey guys, you're cutting, that's great, and it's, what you're doing is brilliant, but the town's actually over there. And that's what this is about, Now, Tai, he kind of dances around using the term meditation. I think, he doesn't want to alienate some people, or he doesn't like the term himself or whatever. But really, that's what we're talking about here, is meditating. Meditation is the art of not thinking. And meditation kind of paves the way for your brain to be open. That's my feeling. Tai talks about meditation helping you get to sleep, and I don't think that's what it's about at all. It opens you up. And, one of the things I strongly recommend if you're that type of person, because I don't think it works for everybody, but if you're that type of person, meditation is really strong, and I think it's a great thing. So meditation, in this case, is about deep thinking and thinking on a problem. And Tai talks about chess-like thinking. And the issue is with chess, you have to think many moves ahead. But not just your moves. You have to take into account what the other person might do. And that's why it's very contemplative, And you don't know in life, you don't know how the pieces are going to be moved around. So you have a pretty good idea. So, let's, for most of it. And so, you sit there and you say, okay, this happens and I can do this, and go on. And you strategize to get to the end or to a goal. Plan many moves ahead based on, and have many options based on the many potential things that can happen. And one of the ways to do this is to actually switch off. Stop thinking about your day-to-day bookkeeping, how I've got to do this, I've got to make this, I've got to write this software, I've got to write this script, I've got to do these processes. Forget about the processes, think about the goal. And while we're talking about chess, I haven't read this book. There's a book called Bounce, about a guy who he had 3 daughters, and somehow he thought he would perform an experiment on them and turn them into chess players to prove that, anybody can, you don't have to be a genius to acquire a skill. You just have to, have practice or whatever. I don't know what the book is about. I'm curious now, because it sounds like a guy tortured his daughters into playing chess. And also, it's kind of like saying, well, my daughters aren't geniuses, but I taught them how to play chess anyway. Anyway, that's totally aside. I don't know why I brought that up. But, so how do you do this? When do you do this deep thinking? And like I say, you should do it a few times a week, and meditation you should probably do every day. That's my belief. But a few times a week you should do this contemplative thinking about your future. You can find time, you can find a place. Some people, you can do it sitting on the train coming to or from work, but as long as you're in a place where you can tune out the surroundings and kind of go to an inner quiet place. Don't be listening to music or things like that. What is it with people who have to have noise all the time? Like, turn off your television, turn off your stereo, sit in silence and listen to yourself. Not enough people, I think, now do that. The amount of people I meet who always have to have some kind of noise, I find that kind of weird. Maybe that was my upbringing, but silence is golden. So and you sit through these things. Now, Tai, in this lesson, he talks a lot about going backwards, which I think is weird, because in his examples he gives about going backwards, but in his talking about the process he talks about going forward. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is there. But normally you don't play chess backwards. You don't care how you got to where you are right now. In life, you care a little bit, It would be nice to know, so that maybe you don't make any mistakes, or you know why things are happening the way they're happening. But my personal thing is for, whatever. You're here now. Unless one of your goals is to invent a time machine, I don't think it matters so much. Diagnosis is useful, but, look at the moves going forward. That's my thing. And you can do this, with your relationship, with your business, all of your kinds of relationships, romantic and professional, whatever. Say, okay, where are we now? Are there problems? And if there are problems, how can I fix a problem? Does my relationship need more attention? Is my relationship not working? What can I do? Is my business, am I getting sidetracked down a path that's easy, but not a path that leads to the goal? Say where you are, but then say, okay, this is my goal. How can I get there? Keep reevaluating. And I think the final point about this is, don't just, even though I just kind of said this, don't be only inside your head for the ideas. Read a lot. And that's one of the things I think so great about the 67 steps, emphasizing reading. Read, if we're talking about business here, read, Peter Drucker. I got this great book. Hold on. This is, what is it? The Essential Drucker. And it's like a big collection of Peter Drucker's work. Peter Drucker, if you don't know who he is, he's surprising, even though he's a business guy, how impactful his ideas are. You read books, like Drucker, there's another great book, Where Good Ideas Come From, Bold, all the, there's so many great business books. You read those books, let them steep in your brain, and use those when you're thinking about your plans and your steps for the future. That's my recommendation. I mean, I don't do it formally, but now I'm thinking maybe I should be formally doing this. I read a lot, and I always take these things into consideration, but maybe I need to sit down and you say, okay, today, here's the goal, and write it out. The other thing, I use this business model canvas. Anyway, we'll get into that stuff later. So that's it. Take some time, sit down, assiduity, and think about your big plans and plan out your moves like a chess game. Okay. Tai has 3 questions. Question number 1, probably the worst question ever he's had on this thing. What's the reason you've never done this before? Well, maybe you've never heard of it before. Maybe you think it's stupid. I don't know. Normally it's because you've never heard of it before. Why else would you have never done it before? Uh-oh. Something's going to happen. My alarms are going off. That's question number 1. Horrible question. Give it a shot. Question number 2. Where are you going to do this? Where's your space that you can get your armchair meditation, business strategization meditation? How's that one? And number 3 is, what's the first problem you're going to try this on? Is it a business problem, a short-term, medium-term, long-term business problem? Is it a relationship problem? Probably have lots of problems. I know I do. So, which one are you going to use this on? Anyway, there we go. Step 54. I hope you liked it. I hope I see you soon for step 55 and onward to step 67. All right. Thanks a lot for watching.